Welcome to Poptarts!
Bing, 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 bing.
I'm Emily Rems.
I'm Callie Watts.
We are both editors at Bust Magazine in New York City. We love talking to each other about pop culture. We love talking to you about pop culture. And today is a big, big, big day for us because Phoebe Robinson is in the studio! What? We're freaking the fuck out! Hi, Phoebe.
How are you?
We're good. We're so happy and excited to see you.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. This is great. We're in you guys aren't here, but we're in a cozy space, and I don't have any shoes on, so I feel like, Joss Stone. It's great. I'm very happy.
If you are not already up to speed, Phoebe Robinson is truly one of the funniest humans alive, in my opinion.
Okay.
You make me laugh like no other. Stuff comes out of my face on the subway, because that's when
dog.
I listen to you.
We're going there. Okay, thank you.
She is a stand-up comedian, an author, and an actor. And her super duper popular podcast, Two Dope Queens, that she hosts with Jessica Williams, is about to debut as not one, not two, not three, but 4 HBO comedy specials airing throughout the month of February, starting February 2nd, which is when this episode drops.
I'm so excited.
It could not be more perfectly timed.
It's insane, but I'm pumped.
So I really feel like we've got you here on such an auspicious moment in your life.
Oh my God.
We're and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there's kind of a difference between podcast famous and HBO famous. And we're all about to find out what that means for you and Jessica. And
are you ready for it?
Are you ready for it?
I mean, I have not thought about it in terms of HBO famous. I just been so focused on shooting it, coming up with this stuff, looking at edits, and so I'm still kind of oh yeah, people are gonna watch this. Someone from high school today, he lives in LA. His name is Matt. He texted me a picture of Jessica and I on Billboard, and I was like, oh yeah, and people are gonna watch. I always just create in such a vacuum that I forget that people are gonna check out the final product. So I'm just if
are you ready to not be able to take the train?
I'm definitely still gonna take the train. I just want to meet the cast of Game of Thrones, and then I'll be okay. That's
that seems so totally doable.
I think that's possible.
Is it? They're so busy. They're still shooting.
They're gonna call you Coco Khaleesi.
You know what? If that
and
happens,
they're gonna
I'll die.
But there's the other thing about going from podcast famous to HBO famous is your face. Are you getting stopped on the street for selfies already? Are you ready for that to be happening more?
I mean, I do get stopped from time to time. I don't want to pretend like I don't, and that's always nice. Usually, it's when I have one uniform that I wear when I travel in the airport, and it's basically a blanket. It's just a onesie from Urban Outfitters that's gray and made of sweatpant material.
Perfect.
And I throw a beanie on. So I'm just kind of I'm just gonna enjoy it till I have to dress like Victoria Beckham when I go to the airport. So I always look like I'm on my way to do laundry or I just got my period. So okay, I gotta step it up, I guess, now that
or you'll be starting a new trend and we'll all be so much more comfortable from now on.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, people have always been really nice when they come up to me. They're just we love the podcast. You and Jessica are so funny, and it's nothing but great stuff. So it's really,
I mean, you would have to be a real piece of work to be like, Phoebe, I hate you.
Yeah, right.
You are not funny.
I'm sure that will happen one day, but thankfully it has not happened yet.
I want to see the person that pulls that shit.
There is a very exciting and lovely photo shoot / interview with you and Jessica in the latest issue of Bust Magazine on stands now. with Kristen Ritter.
Oh
on the
my
cover.
God, Jinx, Emily, my meld.
We're so twinsies. But yes, you're in the issue. And one of the things that caught my attention in your interview was when you were just talking about, you noticed that your podcast was just getting super duper popular, and then you're such a boss lady. It was your idea to be like, well, yeah, we should definitely be on HBO. And I love that it was your idea. And I was just I wanted to know more about how it went from like you being boss lady, being like, yeah, I have a super popular product. Like, why wouldn't HBO want it? And then actually getting it onto HBO. Did your people call their people? How did it happen?
Yeah, I'm such a businesswoman. Like, I'm always thinking of how to turn the next thing into the next thing, and everything is just working in tandem with each other. And, you know, Justin and I were just having like such amazing shows, and like we're getting such great feedback about the podcast. I was like, guys, I feel like this is a show, and like we could get a show based on just like kind of just keeping the essence of the podcast and just putting it on screen. And, you know, just because like she was busy, I was busy, I would say it, and like then it would kind of like fall away because other stuff would come up. And then last year when I was like in LA writing on Portlandia, I was like, guys, honestly, we have to make this happen. This is a show. I feel it in my bones. So they're like, okay, great. And so everyone was just like, yeah, why have we been waiting? Let's just all like do it now. Like we all have like a free moment. And I was like, yes, we finally have the moment. And so we, you know, just kind of like pitched it out. Like, you know, UTA did a phenomenal job of pitching us out. But also I think because we at that point had 3 seasons in the can, like we had, you know, audio of like everything we done. We also do like Facebook live streams of it, so we could direct people to like, you can actually see kind of like the genesis of what a TV show would be. And you know, when we were taking meetings with different people, we met with HBO. Jessica and I were like, okay, well, we're going to like come up with all this stuff because it's going from podcast to TV. We got to do all this like extra pizzazz. And we went in and we're like, well, maybe we could do this or do that or do this and blah, blah, blah. And then HBO was just like, we just want you to keep the essence of the podcast. Like, that's what we like, and we think that's what's going to work the best. Like, usually things don't work when you try and change, like, what's the secret sauce about it to make it fit a different format. And that was Nina. And it's a testament to her just being like, this product is great. You guys have worked on this for 4 years. So now we're just going to sort of like refine it, and like you can like wear cool clothes, and like you can probably get celebrity guests on that you haven't been able to have on before. So they really just got it instantly, and they say yes to the dress. And we were very greedy, and just like my manager Chanel was like, you should do 4 specials in Black History Month. And I was like, you crafty bitch. Yes, we will ask for 4, because you know what? If we were white dudes, we would totally ask for 4 and not be like, that's crazy. But I was just like, you're genius. And HBO was like, yes, we will absolutely do 4 episodes. And
that's amazing.
Like, that's awesome.
You guys are crazy for saying yes.
When I heard that it was going to be a show, like immediately I was on HBO specifically. I was like, that's perfect. I am imagining it right away. It's going to be like Def Comedy Jam, but with like better curated comedians and more consistently funny.
Yeah.
Like that was like what I was just imagining that it would be right off the bat. But also, you know, going back and thinking about it, you guys are the very first podcast to ever cross over into TV ever in the history of the medium.
Really?
You're pioneers.
The first one? Amazing.
Numero uno.
Yeah, I think especially like comedy podcasts has never been done.
Do you feel like you're like kicking the door open for all of us like microphone people?
I don't know if I'm kicking the door open, because I don't want to like, you know, be too like place importance on myself, but I
place the importance on yourself.
I think I was the one who placed the importance on you, so don't worry about it.
But I do think that the way that entertainment is changing so much, like obviously with like hashtag Me Too and hashtag Time's Up, but also the way that talent is being discovered, like Abby and Lana were a web series, you know, Issa Rae web series. So I feel like there are just so many different avenues. There's so many networks that are looking for content, and they're, you know, you have a microphone, we have a microphone, so you can kind of just build your audience and build your brand and build your voice and build, you know, everything that kind of like where you have a show pretty much intact when you're ready to go to a network. And I think there's just like an audience for different comedic voices right now, which is great. You have people like Issa Rae, and like you have like Mindy Kaling and Abby and Alana. You just have like a lot of like different, unique, very specific voices, and there are people who love the different content that each of us have. And so I just think that podcasting is just a different way. It makes it easier for networks to kind of farm talent, because it can go, oh, this person has like, you know, they've been doing this podcast for 5 years. I know what the show is. And like, you don't have to like try and convince someone and be like, please see me. Like the executive is like, okay, I can get it as clearly as possible, which is, I think, fantastic. So I hope that more shows are made out of podcasts, because I think it's just makes just the most sense.
You seem to me like almost an object lesson in like the potential of podcasting, because you have this big personality that can translate in so many ways. You're an actor and you're a writer and you're a stand-up comedian, and then somehow you were an early adopter in podcasting. You not only had Two Dope Queens, you have So Many White Guys, like two super popular podcasts that everybody I know listens to. How did you know that podcasting was going to be your way in, or are you just assuming that all of your ways in are your way in?
Yeah, I think it is. I do assume all of my ways are my way in. But also, I remember like years and years ago, before I ever started podcast, like my very first podcast was like this rinky-dink podcast I did in my apartment in Kensington in Brooklyn that had a moldy ceiling in the bathroom the entire time I was there. And I didn't know like how to use GarageBand, barely knew how to edit. And it was an interview show called Blaria Live, Black Daria. And I would just like interview people on it. But I just, even before I did that, I was just like, you know, I think I want to host a radio show one day. So I just like talking to people, and even more than this, I like interviewing people better. So I just kind of always was like, I think I could host like I was thinking like morning radio, but I was like, that's a lot of hours. I don't know that I have the stamina to
do drive time.
Yeah, like I don't think I could fulfill 3 hours of content. Like I'm not that interesting. But so when podcasting came along and I saw, you know, what Mark Maron was doing with his podcast, and, you know, listening to people like Terry Gross, I was like, maybe there's something that I could do in this space that would work for me, because I do think I have kind of a different interview style that makes people want to open up in a way that they might not feel comfortable on other shows. And so podcasting just kind of filled that nugget in my head where I was like, radio might be the thing for me.
Let me ask you about you and Jessica. I know you guys met 4 years ago when you were doing a segment for The Daily Show.
Yeah.
And then you guys quickly became friends. Like, we all have friends. We all lean on our girl posse heavily, especially at Bust Magazine. But there's a big difference between a friend and even a best friend and a work wife.
Yeah.
Which is what you guys have become. I feel like Callie and I have worked together for over a decade. How long have we worked together?
13 years, maybe?
Yeah, something like that. But it's only been, I feel like, in the last year since we started doing this podcast that I realized that you were my work spouse.
Aww.
She was just there all
along.
How did you realize that Jessica was going to be a work wife?
Yeah, I think we just both kind of realized when we did the first show, it wasn't even Two Dope Queens, is my Blaria show at UCB East, and I just asked her to co-host it with me as a goof because she said she always wanted to do stand-up, and I was like, all right, cool, just do it, it'll be fun, like one-off, and keep it moving, I'll see you around, I'm sure, whatever. And we just had like a lot of fun doing it, and I was like, hey, I think I could do this again, like, would you want to do this another time? And she was like, I was thinking the same thing. So I think we both just kind of felt this would be fun to do again. And so you know how you slowly like date a person, so you just kind of go on one date and then another date and then another date. You're like, okay, this is like really awesome. And you know, I think just in the way that I'm sure Key and Peele just recognize that their chemistry is unlike anything other when they work with someone else. You know, I recognize like my chemistry with Jessica is like pretty unique and special. And of course I have chemistry with other people that I do comedy with, like Alana, Michelle Buteau, but I think what Jessica and I have is truly like lightning in a bottle. And I think we were just like pretty savvy enough to pick up on it and be like, let's kind of make this a thing.
It's so magic.
Aw, thank you.
It makes me happy every time I hear you guys together. It's sort of like so much more than the sum of its parts. It's just sort of, I'm so grateful that you guys met each other. For like everyone who listens to you, it just brings so much joy. Let's talk about your first book. I'm super excited that you're writing another book.
Yeah, I'm excited too, and also behind.
Your first book came out in 2016. It's called You Can't Touch My Hair. And it's super funny. I recommend it to every single person alive.
Wow. Yes, Sidney Poitier, pick up a copy.
Yeah. It's super funny. But one of the things that impressed me the most about it is that while it's super funny, it really doesn't pull any punches talking about the intersection between sexism, racism, pop culture, and also just sort of like interactive social culture. And I feel like that's something that we struggle and strive to do so much at Bust Magazine. This is Bust's 25th year. We're going to put together a big party to celebrate it this summer, right? A shindig. So everyone can keep their eyes and ears peeled for info on that. But for 25 years, we've been trying to like make feminism something that's like fun and cool and enjoyable. And I feel like there's a lot of ways to do that, but sometimes it can be very tricky to strike that balance. And your book for me was really very instructive on how to talk about sexism, how to talk about racism, how to talk about intersectionality and things that really matter in a way that still is pleasurable to read. Is that just sort of something that you instinctively did? Was that part of your aim in writing the book, or is that just like how your thoughts come out?
Yeah, so before I had the book deal, I had a blog called Blaria. There's a theme. I like to brand things. I'm a Kardashian. Just kidding. But I had a blog and I was doing it. I was writing like 3 to 5 times a week. And one of my first blog posts was about the show Girls. And just like sort of my like not... just some, kind of like critiques that I had of the show. And, Huffington Post, like someone at Huffington Post asked me if it was okay to reblog it. And then like some friends read it, and it wasn't even like, it didn't go viral. Like I know people are always like, this went viral. It's like people read it, but it wasn't viral. But I had like a pretty decent amount of, hits on a blog site that I started like 10 days prior to that article. And I studied writing in school, and I was like, maybe I could eventually like write a book one day, because I think I have like what it takes. Like I need shaping, but and with that blog, I would just write about like feminism, racism, sexism, just politics, like all these things that I didn't necessarily realize I was super passionate about until I started writing about them on a regular basis. And I think because I pepper like a lot of my writing with like pop culture references and jokes, just because I'm like also like trying to figure out how to comprehend stuff too. And I want to do it in a fun way as opposed to being very dry and academic. And it's just kind of like how I speak in my normal life anyway. So when I translated that to the book with the help of my editor, Kate Napolitano, what up, girl? It really just felt like, not that it was like easy, because it was definitely writing that book was like the hardest thing I've ever done professionally, but it felt like I kind of figured out what my voice was, and I wasn't like asking for permission to express my opinions or, say what I think should be changed about certain things like the NFL and the way that a lot of their players abuse women. So it just, with the book, it just really kind of felt like a combination of my writing and also educating myself about feminism and other different issues. And it was like a really fun book to write. So I'm glad that you like it and that it like resonates with people.
Has your feminism changed since you wrote that book? I feel like you're a much more public figure now even than you were when that first book came out. Is there going to be more of a feminist thread in your second book?
Yeah, I think because I do have more of a platform now, which is like nice, and like it's cool that I can like, get hair and makeup done, but like ultimately that stuff doesn't matter. So I like try to, use my platform to talk about issues that actually like really matter. Because like while career stuff is fun, like the world is a freaking scary place right now, and there's a lot of shit that needs to be tended to. And so I think, you know, not only with my next book, which is called Everything's Trash, but It's Okay.
I love it.
Thank you. But I think that it I don't know if it's going to be more feminist or not, but it's definitely going to have the same like through line of like just thinking about feminism and making sure that's at the forefront of, you know, whatever I write about.
You were writing about feminism and being a pop culture feminist aligned person before everything blew up with Weinstein and hashtag Me Too and hashtag Time's Up. Does it feel like the world is coming to you in a certain way? Like the world is starting to catch up? Or are you afraid that it's a fad? You know, like we've been working on Bust for so long. We're excited, but also very almost side-eye with like the sort of media frenzy about feminism.
If this is just a tip, I'm going to be real mad.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a trend. I think, you know, much like 50 years ago, it's probably like it was socially acceptable to hit your wife and no one would like really kind of call you out on it. I think like, and like that's not okay anymore. And I think it's truly like this is like the death knell of like sexual harassment in the workplace. It is not okay to do it anymore. You will lose your job. You cannot assault people. You will lose your job. And people are going to speak out. No one's going to keep your secrets for you anymore, which I think is the best part, is that people are feeling empowered to share their stories and share their truths and share, you know, I've been reading like different interviews that Rose McGowan's been doing in promotion and promoting her book Brave that's out. And, you know, it's just heartbreaking that this was such a traumatic experience that she was carrying around, and she was saying for decades, and she would constantly say in interviews like, no one believed me, no one listened to me, everyone acted like I was crazy. And what I'm hoping is that people, like we've all in this room been harassed. I've been harassed too. Thankfully I have nothing beyond that happen to me, but like, you know, I just think about going forward that women are not, and men are not going to be scared to say, hey, someone is hurting me. They're not going to worry that no one's going to believe them. They're not going to have to walk away from a career because they're like, to be in this career is going to hurt me too much. And it's great that we're not going to lose artists who could give us something but they, like a lot of women comedians, felt like they had to walk away from stand-up, for example, because they were getting harassed and they just didn't want to deal with it. And so I just think about like all the like artists and like people and women who are going to do politics now because they feel like it's going to be more of a safe space. So I think it's not a trend. I could be wrong, but I really just get the vibe that people are just not taking this shit anymore.
But when we're talking about like comedy as a safe space or not a safe space for women, comedy is notoriously not a safe space for women. But at the same time, your show is so popular, and I feel like it is, as it's grown in popularity, so many women have come to prominence just by listening to them on your show. And partially it's almost like, hey, where all these women comedians come from? Yeah. But really they've always been around and working so hard and haven't been given the opportunities because, from what I understand, for the majority of the history of stand-up, the bookers who are going to put shows together are like, okay, who's going to be the one female comedian in this? If there was one at all. That's not what the listeners get on your show, and your show is really a safe space, both I think for comedians and for audiences. Yeah. Like there's a part of me that loves stand-up comedy so much, and then there's another part of me that won't go to a show because I don't want some dude picking me out of the audience and like making fat jokes about me, so I'm not gonna go there. But that's, you know, for a fact that would never happen on a Two Dope Queens show. I was in the audience for one of your HBO tapings. I had a super fantastic time. I was at the Titus Burgess one.
Oh, he's so great.
I saw the Jon Stewart one.
Oh my God. Great. Awesome.
It was awesome.
Yay.
But I think that penny was. I've never had to put my phone in jail before.
Yeah, our phones were in phone jail.
I know, which is great because they didn't want people posting stuff.
It totally makes sense, but it was really hard because somebody went to get beer, somebody went to save seats, and then we were like, oh, whoa, this is like the 90s. We got to figure out how to find each other.
Right. Somebody find a payphone. But I feel like the safe space that is created by Two Dope Queens and being an inclusive space and being a non-asshole sexism space is really raising up the whole art form.
Yeah, I've been doing stand-up for about 10 years, and, it is a very male-dominated industry, and, when you start on stand-up, you're like, typically, I don't want to speak for every stand-up comedian, but typically it's like your goals are first to get like a late-night set, and then a half-hour special, then an hour special, and, I was super pumped to do Seth Meyers in 2015, but like, it's rare for someone who looks like me and who talks like me to do like a late night set. And I just noticed that there were just so many comedians that I love around the country who are amazing and hilarious, and they're not being given the same opportunities as like maybe a straight white guy. And so, that was, I think also with Jessica coming from the improv world, and it's the same sort of thing. I think for when we came up with Two Dope Queens and really decided to make this a thing, we really just wanted to have comics of color, female comedians, queer comedians, and just have it be really inclusive. And this is not to say like we don't book, white male comedians. Of course we do. But it's the whole kind of, there's a giant kind of basket, if you will, of comics to choose from. And to have someone like a Naomi Ekperigin or have a Nori Davis who did warm up for all the HBO specials and make these really smart and thoughtful jokes about having a trans brother, as opposed to just being like, oh, look at this freak, like how every other moronic comic like tries to talk about trans people or trans issues. It's just like a no-brainer. Like there's so many smart, thoughtful, really funny comedians out there, and I just was like, I just want to book people who I'm a fan of. So I have people like Baron Vaughn or a Michelle Buteau or a John Early who's like in everything right now, and it's just hysterical. And it's just like a no-brainer for me. And I'm like, hey, if you're booking a comedy show, if you're just booking whether it's televised or not, it's like there's tons of talent out here. You just have to open your eyes and like do your job.
I wanted to ask you about your relation. Can I?
Yeah, of course. The only thing is I can't say his name. He wants to be a private person, but of course. Yeah.
British Bake Off.
Yeah, hashtag British Bake Off. Hi, baby.
-BAE. So for a while on the show,
For
Jessica
2 years,
was
I was
the
single.
coupled up one, and you were the play in the field one. And those were kind of like when you talked about sexuality.
Yeah.
Those were like kind of your roles. And then, like, you met British Bake Off at a U2 concert, right?
Yeah.
So all of that.
LOL until the day I die.
Oh my
So
God.
ridiculous.
So much drama back and forth between you and Jessica about your love of U2 and her hatred of U2,
I
and the
know.
fact that it came together at a U2 concert
Yeah.
is just the best.
Wait, is that because when we how long have you been with them?
6 months. Yeah.
Because when we were on the podcast with Jessica, she
when
was
Jessica-
going to the U2 concert to meet you.
Right.
It was Friday that day.
Auspicious. That is so auspicious.
Oh, neener,
Yeah.
neener.
Yeah.
Right. So
So
when
I feel like I was there with you.
You're,
on the
like,
day you met
practically
your boo.
You were.
does it change the dynamic at all that you are now both coupled up?
No, because I think we both have different relationships with our respective partners, and also she's 4.5 years in, and I'm 6 months in, and so I think that I think it's still a good dynamic, because I think the way that we approach dating is different and relationships is different, so we have like different things to kind of pull from, which has been great. And British Bake Off is like super supportive. He loves the podcast. He came to all 4 tapings of the specials.
Why do you call him British Bake?
Because he's British. And actually, I didn't come up with the nickname. Michelle Buteau did when I was telling her about him initially. And she's like, oh, he's such a little British Bake Off, because he's like British and likes to bake. Yeah, he's a bae. And so, that's how the name was born. I was like, thank you, Michelle. But yeah, he's just been like super fun, and it is truly funny that we met at a U2 concert, because he's not a psycho U2 fan like I am. He was there. He's a tour manager, so he was there TMing the support band, and we just like kind of hit it off. Like, he didn't like me initially because I was like very flustered and focused on U2 and like not him. And he was like, oh my God. I was like, I gotta go see Bono and Co. And he's like, okay, you go away. I can't deal with your crazy. But it ended up working out. Yeah.
But because you were single on the show for a while and talked about it openly, as a listener, I feel invested in your relation. I guess probably even more than in Jessica's because
I thought you were going to say than yours. And
I was not going to say that. But
you are cold.
That would be a cold thing to say. Yeah. But because Jessica's relationship was predating the podcast and we like knew that you were like out and about and like meeting famouses and whatnot, I know I'm not the only person who's invested in your romantic happiness as like a plot point of the show. Is that something that gets internalized at all, that like people are online or tweeting at you and like want to know about your relationship succeeding?
No, it's sweet. I'm like, maybe we'll be the next like John Legend, Chrissy Teigen.
Oh God, I love the tea.
Relation goals.
I love her so much.
I think it's like really nice that people are like rooting for you, because I mean I was single for like 2 years and like I did not like trying to date, and I am a workaholic, so I was like, I just won't try and date anymore. And then I met this guy and he's been fantastic. So it's really nice to have people being like, yes, but I'm not feeling, it doesn't feel like people are like, thank God we were worried about you. It just feels more like, oh, you finally found someone who's like not trash.
Yeah.
So that's been like really nice, and I think he likes it too. And I say all the time that like people like him more than like me. Like my niece definitely likes him more. Like she's 4, and every time I FaceTime her, ever since she met him, I'd be like, hi, and she'd be like, hey, where's fill in his name? And I'm like, it's like I'm garbage now. She only wants to.
Is it the accent? Is it the British accent?
It's the accent. I think it's also that he is like just really sweet and funny, and he has like a really good personality. So I think that people just kind of like, I really like this dude. I'm like, I know, me too.
Kids are a great judge of character.
Yeah. Because
if the kid calls you trash, you're probably trash.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me ask you about abbreves and slang.
Oh my gosh.
To my mind, you are one of the quickest wits when it comes to abbreviating things that I've ever heard. I appreciate your abbrev skills and your general slangery. And I also feel like I talk like that, but maybe not always. I'm not a professional comedian, so it's not always so on point. But I feel like a 17-year-old inside. Like different people feel like they're different ages inside, and I was just sort of like preserved in amber at 17. Yeah. And so even though I'm 42 now, like
you're 42,
I am, but I talk
I
like.
can tell.
Why,
that's
you.
Because you're 17.
But yeah, it's because I'm 17. I talk like I'm 17 inside, and my
now
essence
I'm trying to
is
think
17.
what my inside's age is.
Maybe you haven't gotten there yet.
You think I'm an elderly person in here?
You might be the elderly woman that you were born to be.
I could be a little Sophia.
Yeah, you're Sophia Petrillo inside.
Yeah. I'm definitely a Long Island divorcee who drinks white wine and has ice cubes in the glass. Like that's me. I love Billy Joel. I freaking saw Journey last. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I love Dad Rock. Yeah.
To me, the like abbreviations and slang stuff is very teenage girl to me, and it appeals to the teenage girl inside of me. At the same time, at different very formative moments in my life, I was culturally mentored by gay men who are also like super good at that. And I've often had this, I've wondered sort of a chicken or the egg thing. Are gay men picking up on teen girl speech? Are teen girls picking up on gay male speech? Are teen girls and gay men picking up on Black American speech? Like who is the originator? Who gets the OG? Like, are we all just like a Venn diagram of abbreves?
I'm going Venn diagram.
Yeah. I mean, do you remember that cell phone commercial where this teen girl walks in her kitchen, she's talking to her parents, and they're like, what are you doing? Or something. He's like, who are you texting? She's like, IDK, my BFF Jill. No one remembers this commercial, but I always thought it was funny. And so I would like kind of make fun of like speaking in like acronyms and abbreves. And then it just kind of became a part of my personality. I can't like separate it. But I do think for sure there is like you know, some stuff has originated with Black people, some with queer people, some with teenage girls. And, you know, I know with like the whole like YQY thing, I like to always tell people I did not create it. It was a listener by the name of Landon, who is gay. He created it and gave me permission to say it, just so people are clear on that. But
YQY.
Yeah, YQY. Yas queen yas. And so I think as long as you're like kind of respectful of various cultures, or if you're going to say, you know, like YQY, but like not like
Credit it,
or like not be outspoken about queer issues and trans
Right.
issues, then it's like you need to check yourself. You know what I mean? So you can't just kind of like have the fun parts of different cultures and then like turn a blind eye to like, you know, all the things that they have to go through and the battles they must contend with. So I think, you know, it's hard because you want everything to be like a melting pot, and like that's what we all want. But I think a lot of times people forget to, you know, respect the culture they are mining from to help build their own personality, and that's fine. But yeah, I think you just have to like be respectful of other people and
like
like
appreciation versus appropriation.
Yeah, and like, you know, there's just certain things that like I don't want to sound like a RuPaul's Drag Race like drag queen. Like I don't want to just completely mimic that and then be like, that's who I am, because it's like, that's not who I am. I would never have talked like that if I hadn't seen that show. So it's like, I can do like the YQY, but I'm not like full on like just sounding like Alyssa Edwards. You know what I mean?
Right.
Who I love, but I'm like, if I did that, then it would be like, Phoebe, what the fuck are you doing? That's like not you.
Let's talk about your acting career.
Ooh, fun. It's starting.
It's popping off, right? So I saw you in I Love Dick.
Mm-hmm.
I know you were in Search Party.
Yeah.
And then I heard you talk about filming in Croatia, this film called Ibiza. Who's Ibiza?
Ibiza. Yeah, that's a joke in the movie Ibiza.
Gillian Jacobs, Vanessa Bayer,
Yeah.
you.
Richard Madden from Game of Thrones.
Man.
Yeah.
See, you're already in with Game of Thrones.
I know.
You're already in there.
I don't have his number. Yeah, this is my first movie. It comes out in May. I don't have the date yet.
But like on Netflix, right?
Yeah, on Netflix, and I'm really pumped for it. I had a great time. Vanessa and Gillian are so fun, and I think the script is by Lauren Kahn and directed by Alex Rickenbach, but I think we all were kind of just feeling like we're shooting in Serbia. We never thought we'd be here, and we all got like various forms of like food poisoning. I think that like kind of bonds you when you're like having diarrhea or you're throwing up. You're all just kind of like, we're in this together. But it just felt like so fun. I definitely was homesick for the first 2 weeks. But then after that, I kind of was like, okay, this is like an amazing opportunity. And like, it sucks like being away from my family for 2 months. And I think I started dating British Bake Off like a week and a half 2 weeks before I had to leave for 2 months.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and we were just like on FaceTime for 2 months. So I was definitely like, this is nuts, because I already like knew I like loved him before I left town.
Aww.
And I later found out he already felt the same way too before I left town.
Oh my gosh. Your story about meeting British Bake Off and then going to Serbia reminds me of my parents.
Oh,
so my
really?
parents met in like, it was like 69 or 70 or something. And like they met and like they were so into each other for a few weeks. And then my mom took off for Israel for the whole summer to like study at like the university in Israel. And like my dad missed her so much, he like hitched a ride with a Hadassah trip to Israel to like meet up with her.
That's
and then
cute.
like they came back and like the whole time, like they had only known each other for like 2 months total. Like part of that she was in Israel, but then they just were like, yeah, let's get married.
I love it.
That's really cute.
And now I'm here hosting this podcast.
Look at you. Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. British Bake Off came and surprised me in Croatia. Which
Nice.
was
Oh,
for
that's
my
adorable.
birthday. So that was cool. So yeah. He's a keeper.
Yeah, it sounds like a little gym.
You're such a polymath. You're doing so many things all at once. So you're working on your second book. You just wrapped this movie. Your 4 HBO specials are about to come out. Like the podcast, I assume, is coming back soonish.
So many
maybe.
white guys. I can't say when it's coming back, but I have started interviewing, and I'm super excited for some of the guests that we have. And I think people are gonna love it. So yeah, I'm pumped.
What are your hopes and dreams, macro, for 2018?
Ooh, 2018. I mean, HBO specials being a success, and making HBO proud. People watching the Netflix movie, and then I'm gonna do a book / stand-up tour. My book comes out in the fall, so
Awesome.
I'll need to figure out a new 45 minutes of stand-up, not to add more to the plate. And then I would love to eventually like get like my own stand-up special.
Yeah,
At the end of
definitely.
this year.
I'm
like,
here for
maybe-
these goals.
Yeah, so it's good. Then also like see my boyfriend, and you know my sister-in-law is. I'm like glancing at my phone because she just got induced into labor today. Today, so I've just been like, you know, my brother's in the hospital, like he can't be on the phone, so I sent a text before I came in, and I was like, "How's it going?" Because I like can't call, and I haven't heard anything, so I'm just kind of like, "Where's baby number 2?"
Auntie
Yeah.
Phoebe.
So exciting.
Yeah, so I'm just like I can't wait to like go home and just like hang out with the new baby and just do something. Like there's like so much like cool real life stuff going on that I think as I'm getting older I appreciate more.
Do you have auntie goals?
Yeah, I mean my auntie goals are just to like, I really think my niece that I have so far, she's like so smart. She's really into like math and science. Like she loves Moana. She's not like all about, you know, like Beauty and the Beast. She's all about just like kind of being like the hero of her own life. And so I got her like a little feminist t-shirt, and she like wore it the other day. Like it's just like really cute, and like she's really funny because it's like I have to like explain feminism to her a little bit. And I went home for Christmas, and she was like, "Can we make a snowman?" And I was like, "Or a snow woman." She was like, "No, I want a snowman." And I was like, "You know what? Snow women, they also work." And she was like, "Mom, why can't I have a snowman?" And I'm like, "It's about equality of gender." And she was just like, she's 4, and I'm like yelling at her. She's
That is
just like,
hilarious.
"Just want a snowman. Can you get the fuck out of my face, dog?" It's like what she was feeling, you know?
Oh my god.
And then I was just like, and then like by the time I left, she was like, "Mom, I want to make a snowman and a snow woman." I was like,
You
So
got
I
it there.
Little
got
goals.
in there. Which is really fun. Yeah.
When we were talking to Jessica, she was talking about like her ultimate like not working pleasure is The Sims. Do you have something similar where when you just need to turn your brain off, like what helps you make that happen? Or does it ever turn off?
Gosh, I do turn off. I really love watching trash TV.
Nice.
I really do. I've seen every episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, which is so ignorant. It's ignorant. It's like not good.
Who's your favorite?
Chloe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those
Yeah.
are like everyone's favorite.
She's the best. But it's like I've seen that. I've never seen like Schindler's List. Like I don't have my priorities together. It's ridiculous. So that, and I love FaceTiming my friends, and then going to YouTube concerts. I know I'm bringing it back to YouTube, but I love that. I saw them 6 times last summer when they did the
Oh my
Joshua Tree
gosh.
tour. I am a fan.
Have you always, since like the beginning of your time?
Yeah, I think since I was like 13.
Wow.
Yeah, they got in there, and they're not gonna leave.
That's so crazy.
I know it's a bit much, but I love it.
That segues perfectly into the final question that we always ask every guest, which is Whatcha Watchin? And that doesn't just mean TV. Whatcha Watchin includes TV, movies, books, podcasts, music videos. Is there anything else that's floating your pop culture boat that we should know about?
Oh my gosh! You know what? Let me go through my iTunes. I have Apple Music. People are like, "That's not cool," and I'm like, "Have you met me? I'm not cool." I really have I've been I've been listening to a lot of Shaka Khan lately.
Let me hold you, let me love you, let me feel you, Shaka Khan. And your hair is also sort of telling that story to me.
Thank you. Like a lot of that, Diana Ross. I've been like throwing it back.
Nice.
That's been my thing music wise. And then books. I haven't been reading a lot of books lately. I'm like halfway through Bruce Springsteen's book, which is
Such a dad.
I am such a dad, but honestly, he's one of the best writers I've ever read. Like I'm reading this and I'm like, this is absolutely beautiful. Like I'm like, Bruce, can you write another book? It's just the imagery is just. I don't know why I was surprised. He's a songwriter for 40 years, but I was just like, oh my God, this is so.
I heard
beautiful.
It was really good.
And then I went and I saw this Broadway show with the BF, and we were both like, this is the best show we've ever seen in our lives.
Wow.
And it was truly just Bruce on stage with a piano and an acoustic guitar, and it was like fucking nuts. And he did this like super bluesy version of Born in the USA that is, I swear on my life, better than the original.
Whoa.
It was bananas. Like we were like, this is like gospel and bluesy. We're like, what the fuck is going on? And then TV wise, the other thing that I was so obsessed with last year, besides Game of Thrones, Big Little Lies.
Oh God,
Yeah.
so good.
Beyond. And I just
So
saw
good.
on the ride over here that Meryl Streep is cast in season 2.
What?
Whoa! Newsflash.
So I'm like, season 2 is going to be so
That
lit.
is
I
the
can't
best
wait.
news
Oh
of
my
my
God.
day.
I'm so pumped.
I'm gonna go smoke about that later.
Smoke
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Totally.
So good.
As soon as I get home, my best friend's coming over, and she was living in Hawaii, and we haven't seen each other in a while. So I'm gonna be like, we got this joint going on right now about Big Little Lies. I can't wait.
Do you normally dedicate your joints?
Occasionally, yes. Occasionally, I'll be like, this is the news. This is what we're micing on tonight.
I'm also super, and I'm not a makeup person. I have someone because I had a shoot today, but Fenty Beauty. Support Black businesses. It's so good.
She cannot do anything
It's
less
great.
than perfect.
Yeah.
That woman.
She's a
everything
mogul.
great. Every time that there's a headline, I'm like, what are you doing now?
I know.
What have you blessed us with now?
Yeah.
I also like remember there was that stuff where like the journalists got on like the doomed Rihanna plane. Like they put a whole bunch of journalists on a plane to follow Rihanna around, and it turned into like the Bataan Death March.
I forgot about that.
Like even that I feel like was her just sort of like lording over the press and showing where the true power was. You know what I mean? Like I was like, and I'm a journalist, and if I had been invited onto that hell plane, I would have totally gone. Like even that being the case, I was like, they probably deserved it. Because she's just right. She's just always right.
Yeah, she's like right up there with Oprah. She's just like, you just can't.
Yeah. Agreed.
And I love
We've
that
reached
line
consensus.
Yeah, right?
has just inspired so many other companies to pretend like they had
Yeah, they're like, oh
diverse-
yeah, diversity. And you're like,
And you're like, you have two foundation colors. Let's not.
Yeah.
But now they have to make more colors that
Yes.
are out of the game.
Get it together, y'all.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks
has
for
been a
having
joy.
me. This has been fun. Time has like flown by. I guess my sister-in-law is still in labor, so there you go.
Good luck, sister-in-law. You can do it.
Push!
Push. Breathe. That's for your
Are you gonna have
sister-in-law.
them FaceTime you and FaceTime the baby as it comes out?
No. My brother will probably send a picture tonight before bed, and then that'll be it.
Well, Mazel Tov.
Thank you. You guys have. This has been a blast.
You're
Absolute
having a
blast.
baby. You're having an HBO baby.
Ooh, 4.
Quadruplets.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
I'm Terrence Mickey, the creator and host of Memory Motel, a podcast that finds the drama in what we desperately want to remember or would rather forget. In Season 1, I explored such light topics as the different ways we remember the dead.
Good afternoon. Thank you for calling the New York Times Classifieds. Christine speaking. How may I help you?
Hi, My name's Terrence Mickey, and I'm calling to inquire about an obituary.
What information were you looking for that I could possibly help you with?
Okay, I'm a big procrastinator, but I'm going to die at some point, so I just want to be prepared. And to get to the bottom of Stockholm Syndrome, I returned to the bank robbery where the first person was diagnosed with it.
I always felt that I did something wrong. After almost 50 years, I felt, well, I didn't do anything wrong. I did what I had to do. And I'm kind of feeling proud of myself.
And I followed a message in a bottle.
He starts talking to me about a bottle with a message in it, and he says Turks and Caicos. I'm like, and I'm real expressive. You can't see me, but like I make a lot of faces. And I look at my cousin and I real quizzically and I go, I don't know what this guy's talking about. So I says, hold on a second. I put the phone down. I'm like, what? And I go back on the phone. I go, okay, excuse me. What's a Turks and Caicos? I had no idea.
To see where your memories take me next, please subscribe to Memory Motel wherever you listen to your podcasts. And to share your memories, please reach out to me directly on Twitter at Terrence_Mickey or at Memory Motel. For updates on Season 2, visit our website, memorymotel.audio.
And we're back.
Hello.
Hello. We just spent such a delightful time with Phoebe Robinson.
A joy, a pleasure.
I'm still basking in the afterglow of having her in here with us. That sounded more sexual than I meant it. But I just loved talking with her.
She's so smart. She's
smart and beautiful and great. And she was here with us. Callie,
amazing.
what is it that you have been watching?
Oh, what have I been watching? So much. So many things. I watched the Obama-David Letterman interview. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah, I totally saw it. And it made me yearn for Obama
Oh, my God.
hard. He is so handsome and so smart.
charming and so in love with Michelle.
Oh, my God. He was the best president. Why isn't he our president anymore?
But like, I mean, I love Obama's, but I'm not going to watch any of the other ones because how quick we forgot that Letterman cheated on his wife with one of his staffers.
I know, but I mean,
workplace romances are not okay when you are in charge.
I know. But
Detterman.
It was consensual.
Yeah, it was consensual, but he's also her boss, and we know that that is not cool.
Yeah, it's a fucked up power dynamic, and I get it.
The cheating, I don't give a fuck about. I mean, that's not cool, bro, but that's not what I'm pissed about. I'm pissed about taking advantage of work situations.
Yeah.
I watched Search Party. I devoured the entire season. I am loving it. I have a crush on that one guy that's also in Search Party and then also in Stranger Things with the glasses. It's a little weird this time. It's a little darker. People are calling it the millennial murder mystery, which I find irritating.
But also alliterative.
Yeah. It's just really, I can't really talk about much because it would give away so many spoilers. But it's amazing. And I also want that they featured one of my friend's hats in there. My friend Heidi Lee makes these like 3D printed, just like baseball caps that look like lines. And then she also makes these endless, what does she call it? It's a hat that's like a million faces of hers in a circle that she 3D printed.
Oh my God, like a fractal?
It's amazing. So I feel like she's going to blow up soon. She was just in Vogue. Keep an eye out for Heidi Lee's designs.
So wait, this design is like people are going to wear a hat with a million of her face on it?
Well, she wears that one herself, but she custom makes them for other people.
So I could have a hat with all of my face on it a million times?
Yes.
Now you're speaking my language.
I saw the first episode of High Maintenance, which it was really, really good. It was like the whole episode. He wakes up and he finds out like him and his girlfriend, they check their phones and something terrible has happened. and they don't say what it is the whole time. And it's like they go to, he's delivering. There's a ton of people making calls because people smoke weed when shit goes down, but they never completely say if it was a terrorist attack. In an interview later, I think it was with Rolling Stone, he says that it was the election of Trump, but you don't really know the whole time. It's very interesting. So the whole time you're like, what happened?
You and I and you, we saw the star of that show, Ben Sinclair, at the Women's March.
Yes, we did.
He was holding a giant pink balloon and a small clutch of pink roses.
He is a charming, charming individual.
Marching for women, Ben Sinclair of High Maintenance.
Oh, I wanted to talk to you about my favorite meme that was on the internet.
What was your favorite meme on the internet?
The poop knife.
The poop knife. Yes, I would not have known what a poop knife is if it wasn't for you alerting me to the existence of poop knife.
Well, I wouldn't have known what a poop knife is if it wasn't for the internet telling me that somebody had a poop knife. Well, actually, if you didn't catch the meme when it was going around, this guy is over at his friend's house and he has to take a shit, and then he gets out of the bathroom and he asks his friend where he keeps the poop knife, and his friend is confused. And then this guy learns that not everybody has a poop knife.
Right, but he grew up in a family that had a poop knife, and when your poop was too big to go to the toilet, that's when you need the poop knife to cut it up.
My mind was so blown. And like, especially, and then his wife didn't know that there was a poop knife in the house. And then she'd been opening her Amazon mail with it because they were keeping it in the storage room because it was between the other bathrooms. The craziest thing to me is if you have a designated poop knife and you don't let your significant other know that's the poop knife,
that's disrespectful.
That's insanity. How do you think that they know which knife is the poop knife?
Yeah.
And then there was like all these people commenting on it on the original thread. They were like, oh, we have a poop spatula and we have a poop hanger or whatever. So it's common.
These people have some dense poops, first of all, A.
Or really shitty toilet suction.
Right. Bad plumbing.
I saw the assassination of Gianni Versace, American Crime Stories first episode. What? Oh my God.
That good, eh?
Yes. First off, it's cinematically beautiful. It is gorgeous. Me and Camilo, my boo, realized that we need to get richer friends or die trying. Because we're never going to be able to have a residence like that. But I want to go to there. I want to be in a Versace house. I will never be the Versace house owner. So I've got to meet the friends and I got to go hang out at their houses.
So if one of our listeners out there has a Versace house and wants us to come and float around in your pool, hit us up.
I'll be your friend.
Yeah.
And then I was also really shocked because I was talking like Camilo, he didn't know about the Versace murder. None of my roommates knew anything about the story. So I was trying to not do spoilers because I know everything about the story. And I'm like, whoa, like, everybody knows O.J. Simpson. But I was just shocked that not more people knew about the murder or what a big, like, mystery it was.
Yeah, the kids today, they don't know from Versace.
They don't know a Versace. And Camilla, Donatella Versace is being played by Penelope Cruz.
Work.
And I tried to explain to Camilla what Donatella Versace looks like. And then I had to show him some pictures and he was like, didn't see that coming. But Donatella, apparently Penelope Cruz asked Donatella if she could play her. She called her and asked.
Wow.
Yeah, and Donatella, the Versace family is not backing this show. They think it's all lies. But she was like, if somebody's going to have to play me, I'm glad it's you. Which is nice. And Ricky Martin plays the boyfriend. Mm-hmm. Amazingly. It's interesting because it's bouncing around in time. So, like, it's an interesting setup. I am loving it. And I can't wait for the next episode.
Yeah.
I saw Happy Death Day.
And
I hate Groundhog's Day with an adamant passion because I feel like if you've seen Groundhog's Day once, you've literally seen it a million times.
Oh, literally.
And I found that movie so annoying, and I'll never watch that movie again. And Happy Death Day was like Groundhog's Day in that the woman is waking up every day on the day she was murdered until she finds her murderer.
And she keeps getting murdered over and over again, right?
Right. And so I can keep watching that because there's different blood every time. And every time you're like, wait, how's she die? How's she going to die today? You know?
So if only the original Groundhog Day had been
kill that damn groundhog.
Of a massacre.
Yeah. I saw the new Bob's Burgers V for Valentine Detta, and it was so hilarious. Mainly because the theme is that Tina gets dumped on Valentine's Day, and so her mom takes her. They're going on a girls' night, and the limo driver is a maniac and wants to get vengeance on the guy that dumped Tina.
Nice.
So they're scheming the whole time, but they go to get makeovers, and Louise wants to. I forget what she said. What she told the makeup artist she wanted to be, something like terror or something, but she has this like insane clown face. That's what she had the makeup lady do to her. So the whole time she's got this like evil giant face, and they're all dolled up in beautiful makeup. It's good.
I love Tina Belcher. I feel like I admire her erotic friend fiction.
Yes.
I feel her nerdy style is also tantamount to my own, and she likes the butts of boys almost as much as I do.
So I don't know if you remember who Jay Holiday is.
No.
He was an R&B singer from like the early 2000s, and he tried to come at my ladies on the internet and tried to bash SZA, Beyonce, Cardi B, and Mary J. Blige.
What?
In this video clip, and the internet snatched him so hard and threw him.
Who does he have an internet death wish?
Right? So he tried to say, he goes, I got daughters, man. Beyonce, Cardi B, SZA, all y'all motherfuckers stop using that fucking pain to make it okay to say some bullshit on your record and get nominated for a Grammy by going through some bullshit. Right? So he's trying to say that the only reason that these women get Grammy nods is because they talk about their emotional times and relationships. And
I'm so sure.
as if like guys don't ever talk about their emotions. And then he said he's still salty that he lost to Mary J. Blige, the Grammy to Mary J. Blige in 2008 for that very reason. And
maybe he lost because he does not have an eighth of the talent of Mary J. Blige, because everyone in the entire world knows and loves Mary J. Blige, and I don't even know who this dude is.
no, but everybody was like, go back to the 2000s, dude. You're out of here. And he's tried to say that pain wins instead of talent. He is obviously batshit, and
My eye sockets hurt from eye rolling so hard.
oh my god, he got the gifs, the dragon gifs, the internet, the Twitter uproar was hilarious. Camilla's trying to tell me a story, and I was like, you have to stop. The internet is killing me right now. I have to get back in this meme. And that is pretty much what I've been watching.
Well, all right, Callie. I would like to tell you about the very busy pop cultural couple of weeks that I have had. I saw The Post.
I can't wait to see that.
Which is about the cover-up during the Nixon administration that was exposed by the Washington Post, that was owned by Katharine Graham and edited by Ben Bradley. And they had to make the decision of whether or not to risk being sued by the federal government for exposing what they knew about the Vietnam War. And it stars Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks, and they were both so good, and it made me feel like I was an American hero for being a journalist. And also, it really reminded me of like some of the great things about Bust Magazine where we work. Like there was this idea of, you know, when you have a board of directors and a whole bunch of investors in your newspaper, like if you're the head honcho at the newspaper and there's something really important that you want to say, like if it's controversial, you have to go through like this whole board of directors and like all this bullshit you can't just say whatever you want. It has to be okay with the people whose money is invested in it. And you know, like Katharine Graham made history with what she decided, and it was a great movie and everybody should watch it. But I just think about how at Bust, the owners of the magazine are right there in the trenches with us, editing and creating the magazine with us. And we can literally say all the feminist shit that we want all day, every day. And we don't have like a corporate entity breathing down our neck telling us what we can and can't say. We are an independent feminist media outlet, and we are not beholden to anyone or any corporation, just to ourselves and to our own moral compasses. Freedom! And so, like, I loved the post, but it also made me, like, extra grateful to work for an independent feminist news outlet, because I sometimes take it for granted that we can say
we do
and
whatever
write
we want.
Whatever the fuck we want.
The joys.
I also watched Molly's Game.
I really want to see that. I heard really good things.
I thought I was gonna like it more. It's a true story about, well, it's a biographical film. It's not a documentary. It stars Jessica Chastain as a real life woman named Molly Bloom, who was an Olympic class skier, but she actually ended up becoming famous as the woman who ran the most exclusive, high-stakes underground poker game in the world until she became a target for the FBI. I was into, like, this idea of, like, a lady poker boss, but in practice, to me, it was, like, Jessica Chastain in a variety of slinky outfits, just sort of, like, hovering beautifully in a corner while men enjoyed themselves. Like... To me, that was the majority of the movie.
And not what I was going to get. I was picturing a shrewd, like, hustling money, here to take all your coins.
That was part of it. And that's kind of what they're advertising it as. But in practice, it's really her being very beautiful and watching attentively while men have a good time. And I just have limited patience for that. As
so weird. I also pictured pants and a visor in my head.
I don't remember any visors, but yeah, I did not love Molly's Game. I thought it was, like a well-made film, but it didn't.
Takes more than that these days.
Yeah. Definitely. There's a documentary called I Live with 41 Dogs. Would you care to guess what it's about?
Living with 41 dogs.
So, like, if you want to see the lighter side of animal hoarding, like, the animals seem to be pretty well taken care of, and they don't seem to be ill or anything. But it's in England, and this woman and her husband live in, like, a 3-bedroom duplex with 41 dogs.
What kind of dogs?
They're little ones.
Okay.
For the most part, like little bulldog type, like Frenchies and stuff. But so it's really cute to see like the stampede of dogs, like just like running around like a giant
remember
pack
all their
of little
names?
cute dogs. I don't know, but it's also disturbing to see someone with 41 dogs in their house, but also cute. I don't know.
How do they walk them?
Like they sort of do it in batches, and also like they go out into the country and like let them all run around, and then somehow they all come back. So they do some like running free in the countryside, but a lot of the times they're in this house and there's too many dogs. But it wasn't just that lady. There was also like this dude who's like this blow-dried magician who's like very blonde and tan and just like loved animals so much. He was like blonde and tan and like Adonis-like, but also damaged. And he just like kept rescuing all these sort of wild animals that were fucked up, like bunnies and snakes and raccoons and all this stuff. And he had a wife, but she left him because like he was just like this struggling magician trying to like care for all of these animals, and she just like couldn't take it anymore, so she left. So he's just like all alone in the world, desperate to keep these animals that he can barely afford to feed. And so he keeps like renting him out to do kids parties with the animals, and his life was sort of degrading and sad.
Oh, that does sound sad.
But it was cute because the animals were so cute. I don't know. If you want to see people who are like grappling with their animal hoarding addiction, but in a cute, lighthearted way, I Live with 41 Dogs is on Netflix. Callie, you sent to me the link for the new Cupcake video for Duck Duck Goose.
Oh, God. Hilarious.
This Chicago rapper, her name is Cupcake. all of her raps are incredibly filthy, like filthy dirty, like makes my neck, my back sound like a Sunday hymn.
Yeah.
Like her raps are the dirtiest of the sexual dirt, and
So
they make
this
me
was
laugh.
a take on Duck
and
Duck
laugh.
Goose.
Yeah, her in this particular video, she's like rolling around with an assortment of dildos, and she's wearing pasties that look like little ducklings, and like
she cut the boobs out of her jumpsuit. She always gets a pasty on, even if she's fully clothed.
I thought I came, but I peed on the dick. Pubic hair got inches, that's weave on the dick. Pussy like a tree, it got leaves on this shit. Bang, bang, this pussy cheap with the dick. Climbing on that dick, need a 10 feet ladder. I love the D, that's my favorite ladder. My news in your phone taking up your data.
It was too much.
She's
so
amazing.
If something really X-rated in the rap genre is something that you would enjoy, check out the cupcake video for Duck Duck Goose. She spells cupcake with 2 Ks. Do you remember hearing about that movie Fun Mom Dinner?
Yeah.
It is on Netflix, and like it stars women that I love. Toni Collette is in it. Bridget Everett is in it. Molly Shannon is in it, and this
lineup is great.
It's awesome, and it's like a female buddy comedy where like they're all moms and they all like get together for dinner and cut loose and like get up to wacky hijinks. It's written by a woman. It was directed by a woman. It was just like totally focused on these funny women, and yet it sucked.
Why? Just not funny?
It wasn't funny, and it was
so
stupid.
crazy because those people are so funny.
I just I definitely watched it the whole way through because it's just really relaxing and nice to be in the presence of those women. But I just wish that they had been in a good movie instead of a bad one. I was so disappointed because I was like 100% sure that I was going to like it, and then I didn't. I want to ask you your feelings on the fact that Remy Ma has a new single called Melanin Magic featuring Chris Brown. Why? It's a good song, and it's like Remy Ma's ode to the regality of brown skin. And why is Chris Brown in there?
Trash Chris Brown.
Yeah, like why does she think that's okay?
Are they on the same record label? Did they make her do that?
I just want somebody to explain to me why they're mucking up a Remy Ma track with Chris Brown. We have not forgiven him. The world has not forgiven him.
Nor will we.
It's terrible to have a cool Remy Ma track that you can't listen to because Chris Brown is ruining it. Come on.
Trash.
That is what I've been watching.
Woohoo! Woo!
I would like to say thank you to our producer, Rachel Withers, the greatest producer of all. It's Rachel Withers. I would also like to thank our pal at the listening booth, Terrence Mickey, and our girl gang at Bust Magazine. You can find me on Twitter at Emily Rems, and you can email us both. I'm emilyrems@bust.com.
I'm Callie W at bust.com.
And to find out more about Bust, visit us at bust.com. And finally, please rate and review this podcast on iTunes. It really helps us get the word out, and we super duper appreciate it. Until next time, mwah! 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 Mwah!